I'm called Rosemary Nasaba. I work with Unesco under Education for Health and Wellbeing Program, Uganda, Kampala Project Office. I'm representing our National Project Officer, Ms. Teddy Nabwire Chumurwa, who was unable to be with us because she's in the field in Butareja and Ruka, still looking at education for girls post-COVID. So what I'm talking about, they already told us about what UNESCO is. This project is under specifically our rights, our lives, our future, and our responsibility, because we want to make sure that young people are supported to reach their old age when they are healthy, such that they can be able to support and contribute to the development of their communities, of their families, of themselves, but also of the nation. So I will be talking about drugs and substance abuse, a recipe for sexual and reproductive health risks among young people. So next slide, please. So drugs and your body, it isn't pretty. I think Dr. Basangwa really elaborated about this. This is not the best for us. If we want to grow as health individuals who can contribute to the development of our communities, of our countries, then drugs aren't pretty for our lives. So as UNESCO, we support the government. We work with ministry, we support Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to support this. Next slide, please. This is just talking about the outline, what I will briefly talk about. I will not really dwell on the dangers of alcohol and substance abuse, since they are already talked about, but I will center mainly on the linkage between drug and substance abuse and sexual reproductive health among young people. We already know, next slide. We already shared the definitions. A substance is a product taken in the body, and it affects the way we think, feel, see, taste, smell, hear, and walk, or behave. And remember, this is a stage when we are supposed to be concentrating on our education, making sure we perform, yet the drugs change the way we think and perform. It can also be a medicine such as morphine, or it can be an industrial product such as glue. Remember they talked about pasparama, cow dung, gray hair. I'm getting worried such that my gray hair is not taken. Okay, so drugs, any natural synthetic substance which when taken into a living organism may modify, not may, but will modify its function. And what I'm emphasizing here, use of drugs and substances not allowed for consumption. We were looking at how to prevent, but should we be reaching at that level? Should we be going at the level where the school matrons should be checking us? Remember, as generations go on, you are more creative people. You are more knowledgeable. You have the capacity to hide anything. But should we be reaching a level where everyone is trying to police us about our lives? Do we like our lives? Do we like ourselves? If we like ourselves, we like our lives, we want to be people of substance, people who are responsible, then we need to make sure we don't reach that level. Next slide. So I'm talking about sexual and reproductive health because we are looking at the linkage. And we are saying sexual and reproductive health, this is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being in all matters relating to the reproductive system. So remember, when we take these drugs, then we change that. These are the dangers or the effects of drugs and substances when abused on our bodies. I don't need to go into details about this, but remember this will lead to organ damage, infections, and diseases, and women are even more affected. Next slide. How does alcohol abuse, drugs, and substance abuse affect children socially? You remember children and young people. Children who abuse drugs, of course, some of them drop out of school because of poor academic performance. At this material time, they can look at it as cool. It's cool to take drugs because you are trying to fit, you are trying to yield to peer influence, but what are the implications? When you're at school, you have a team there with you, but when you drop off, you are left alone. This is because they spend much of their time drinking alcohol and we have no time to reading their books. At first, they blame the teachers. Maybe they don't teach well. Then you blame others. But later, even it will come out. And they end up engaging in unsafe sex, where they pick diseases like HIV, and boys end up committing crimes such as rape and defilement. But also at family level, remember you are our future. Children who abuse drugs are often chased away from home. They run away from their families and end up living on streets. It's not cool there. Then society, we really do not want to lose you. We don't want to lose your friends. We don't want to lose your peers because you are expected to be useful as teachers, doctors, engineers, MPs of tomorrow. And if you have a goal and a focus, then you will be able to reach your goal. So the relationship between drug abuse and sexual reproductive health. Next slide. Drugs and substance abuse negatively affect our health and our well-being of the person. According to the journal peer-reviewed research conducted for young women in US, showed that use of drugs and substance abuse was positively associated with the following: engaging in early and unplanned sexual activities. What is happening now, you know, we have house parties, we have proms, even when S6s sit for their exams, then later, even when the proms are among schools, but we also organize others. And house parties, you know what happens. Also, there is the risk of multiple sexual partners. Condom use was negatively associated with heavy drinking, and daily smoking was negatively associated with contraceptive service use, which is not good. But also, these are the next slide, the health, stroke, other risks associated with the drugs and substance abuse. We have, this is O3, but we have also O3 plus, where we are supporting university students also to live healthy lives. Because students told us when we had a consultative meeting with their leaders that when they are in secondary, they are told to wait. But when they go to universities, hell broke. They are free to do anything. But what happens? That they even fear pregnancy than HIV. But HIV is real and high even among that age group. So there is a possibility of acquiring sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV and AIDS. early and unplanned pregnancies. You bring in the world children whom you are not able to take care of. You have been at some of our universities. You know how students dress. You compete with people who have not even gone to school. Then violence against children, stress and mental health. Remember, you do not read throughout the term. There are even semester marriages. When exams are coming, you find them congregating at the churches, mosques, and everywhere. And you cannot put in the head in 1 hour the things you are supposed to study for 3 months. And what they do, they try to take drugs such that they can handle. But do you expect good performance? Then poor school performance and dropout, but also emphasis, women who use illicit drugs during pregnancy are up to 2 times more likely to have stillbirth. And also some infants, doctors will tell us, become dependent on the drugs their mothers take. They know, I always go to Butabika. You know what happens. Even when they reach, you know, they have groups, and me, I know where the groups are and where the points where drugs are got. They have told us, you know, how to connect, how to put this in cakes. So how do we respond? We are saying it is a responsibility for everyone. We need to look at this. In my view, we need to work not to put a task on our school matrons, on our teachers, on our parents to be checking us and policing us, because we have the capacity to go beyond that. But as prefects, you are in a right position to give information for even prevention. But those ones who are already involved, help them to stop. So peer mentoring is really important, and leadership programs to mobilize powerful prevention force. Instead, you know, when we go to our holidays, we have our WhatsApp groups, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have podcasts, we have everything. If only we can use it very well to make sure we help our colleagues not to engage in these drugs. Then programs that are age-specific, developmentally appropriate, that is for schools, and culturally sensitive should be repeated throughout the grades. I mean, even in primary, secondary, including universities, because we have found, studies have shown us that 70% of university students are sexually active, and only 50% do not use any protection, so they are also prone to this. Then parents, we need also to do a lot, to be role models. As prefects, we need to do role models. You cannot stop people to do what you yourself you are doing. So, but also what I'm saying, next slide, effective drug and alcohol abuse prevention is everyone's responsibility. Adolescents, schools, parents, and communities, we need to join hands. Mr. Said has already talked about the role of student leaders. I'm emphasizing on it as I conclude. We need to provide information and facts about drugs and substance abuse. We started with Dr. Basangwa, who told us they are dangerous to our lives, both physically, mentally, socially. We need to build skills such as peer resistance. One of the students at the university told me for him, the pressure is they are telling him he's so foolish not to engage in sex. You feel so good because you tell people that you have 10 girlfriends, 10 boyfriends, but it's not helpful. So, and he was looking for someone to support him because they are pushing him that he needs to engage in sexual activity because he's at the university. So we need to build peer resistance skills, critical thinking, what you are doing, what is the effect, and where is it leading me to? Then coping skills. If you agree in something good, how do you cope with it? Then teach fellow peers to restrain and be responsible, and also teach about dangers of drug abuse and how they affect sexual reproductive health. But most importantly, be good role models. Provide counseling and identify risks and report. Thank you so much for listening.